This is the left ventricle because it's so much more muscular, and this is the right ventricle because it's so much less muscular. So if we're in the left ventricle and you see this structure here, which is little plastic stuff, half of it is on this other side, so I cut right through it, and it's got all these little cords hanging down from it. What is that structure in the left ventricle? That is the bicuspid valve, the bicuspid or mitral valve. And these little strings are called chordae tendineae. This muscle that is pulling, papillary muscle. If you're above the bicuspid, you're in the atria. So this is the wall of the left atria. And these little clusters of muscle fibers in the atria wall are called pectinate muscles. Pectinate.
So that is the atria?
Mm-hmm. This is the left auricle. Notice I'm getting to that. Notice I'm getting to that by putting my finger up through the bicuspid valve into the left atria. So the left auricle is the expandable water balloon-like wall of the atria. If this atria was full of blood, this thing would be ballooning up that big. And that's why when you look at models, the atria is much bigger proportionately to the ventricles compared to this itty-bitty thing. Is because it's not inflated with blood. There's no blood in it. If it was inflated with blood, it would be bigger than it is. Not bigger than the ventricles, but it would be bigger than this. So the auricle, remember I said you can see the auricle really well on the dissections better than on the models? So that is the left auricle. And that's something I commonly label unpractical, just because you can see it so much better. There's the right auricle.
So the auricle is like an appendix to the atrium, and it's like more like just a thinner layer covering that, and the blood gets in between the layer and the atrium.
I agreed with the first part of that. I'm not sure about the last part. So the atria has a inner chamber kind of right there, and then the auricle is a thin wall part of the atria that is more expandable and stretchy. Is that what you said?
Yeah, so when it becomes a balloon, I believe there's blood inside of it.
Yes.
The blood is in the auricle or in the atria?
Both. It's in both the
But
atria
more
and the
in
auricle.
the auricle, right?
Well, the auricle stretches more in response to the blood. So yeah,
see.
more blood would be in the auricle.
see.
Yes. But it's also in the atria. So the atria is just like this little room with an expandable wall.
I see.
And the auricle is the expandable wall.
I see.
So there would be blood in the little room, but most of the blood would be in the expandable wall, kind of a big water balloon that expands when it fills with blood. So we saw the bicuspid or mitral valve with the chordae tendineae, papillary muscle, pectinate up in the atria, interventricular septum, thick left ventricle wall, much wimpier right ventricle wall. If I open up here, here's another valve with chordae tendineae. What valve is that? Tricuspid, with the chordae tendineae and the papillary muscle. In the ventricle wall, if you see clusters of muscle fibers that are not attached to the chordae tendineae, they're called trabecular carni.
Trabecular carni.
Like those little holes.
These little clusters.
Okay.
Between that hole and that hole is a cluster of muscle fibers.
Oh, okay.
Between that hole and that hole is a cluster of muscle fibers. I actually made those holes with the probe unintentionally.
Oh.
So they weren't there a second ago.
Okay.
I was trying to isolate the cluster, and I kind of made a little hole on either side. So that is your tricuspid. There is your pectinate up in the atria. There's pectinate muscle up there above the valve.
So this is the atrium.
That's the right atrium, right there. So the aortic semilunar is way up behind here. It's pretty impossible to see. I can't even, sometimes I can stick my finger up in there. I can't on this one. So I would not ever label semilunar valves on a dissection, but I often label the tricuspid, the bicuspid, the chordae tendineae, the papillary muscles, the pectinate, the trabecular carni, and the interventricular septum. That's what I tend to label in dissections. Sometimes I put them on, sometimes I don't. It's when I'm setting up when I'm at home writing the practical, You know, if I feel like, whoa, there's all these things on the you know, it just depends. So that's what I would like you to know on the dissection.